Someone is at the front door.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. So today is Wednesday, the 19th of July, 2023. What amazing several weeks that we have had. I want to be able to share with you guys exactly what I do to get prepped for the morning. So I'll be going over that and shortly here, looking at the ES futures, the NASDAQ futures. And then at the end of it, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? So, every day, first of all, let's just give you a little bit of background story. So, I'm a supply and demand trader. I use my own proprietary indicators. We have what's called trendy edges, and those things identify playing fields of supply and demand. Okay. So, you got to understand that everything that I did for the last several years is I really honed in on my strategy. Okay. And so my strategy is based on indicators, but also how to teach you how to find these levels on your own. When I wake up in the morning and I get ready for my trading day, it really just highly depends on what things look like on my scanners and my indicators. So let's start from the very beginning. When I come in the morning, the first thing I'm going to look at are the ES futures. Now, listen, just because you don't trade the ES futures does not mean that you shouldn't pay attention what the futures are doing. And I used to hear that a lot when I first started trading, but I'm here to tell you it's super, super important. For example, this morning when we're trading to the upside, okay, we expected resistance here at 46.06. We got that. We came down into my indicator. We expected it to bounce. It did exactly that. So even if I were trading names, say Tesla, um, SPX, any trade, all right, I'm basing it off of the ES futures and the NASDAQ futures. And I'll get more into that here in a second. So, what I mean is, if I'm in anything and I want to be trimming, then as soon as we hit this 46.06 level, I'm looking at trimming or taking some size off of what I'm currently in. Okay. So, ES futures, every weekend, we come in here and I always give a weekly look, a daily look, a 4 hour look, and then an intraday look. All right. And so, what that looks like, we'll just pretend that we're starting the morning. So, when we start in the morning, I'll say something like this, folks, as long as we could stay over the 50% of 45.74, we're looking for a move into 46.18. What that means is that I'm expecting the market to continue its trend up as long as this level right here holds. What I'm looking for is if we do proceed and move towards the 46.18 from a weekly standpoint, that I want to continue to stay long. The important part of this is to respect the time frame that we're teaching on. So if I'm on a weekly, what I'm saying is this candle right here represents 1 week, and I don't know if it's actually going to close over the level until the end of the week. So again, respect the time frame that we're on. And you could see here, as long as price was moving up from the inside and up formation, okay, that it's moving from the inside and up formation, I'm looking for it to move into these targets. And we've been dead on for several weeks and just having a really good time. And I really hope you guys are doing well as well. Okay. So again, overall, we're extending, moving to the upside. The weekly looks powerful. The NASDAQ looks powerful. And we'll go over that here in a second. I want to continue to trade to the upside. Okay. Let's go ahead and move over here. I'm going to the daily. This is what our daily looks like. All right. Again, I want to go over some indicators because these are amazing. You can find EMA clouds, you really can, but mine are a little bit more robust than most people's. They have buy and sell signals in them, and they kind of help me stay in the trade. So the first thing I do is I come over here to the daily as well. So I know one, the weekly's looking good, folks, as long as it stays above that 50% level. The daily, well, as long as it can stay above the cloud, we have a buy signal. I want to stay in the trade. I look to find areas of support from a daily standpoint. Okay. And I could do that in all kinds of different ways. I can use my indicators right here. I could use 4587. I could come down here. I can use some structure, 4565. And again, as long as these levels are holding, I'm staying to the long side. Okay. Then we come over here into the 4 hour. Now, this was the chart that I put together last night. Again, I put these over on the weekend. We busted through some of our resistance and I had to create a new one. But the way that I did this is that I just recognized the topping wicks. I throw some lines around it and I say, hey, listen, there's resistance here. All right. But what is most important here on the daily is that we came in this morning. I just want to kind of show you really quick if I could. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take you over into our room here. All right. And I'm going to pull this down just like this. All right. And you can see every single morning I come in and I go ahead and I talk about what I'm expecting for the morning. And I do those morning notes. And I know, a lot of people put together their opinion and so forth. But I have to say, we really have an edge on the market by using these ES futures. And you could see this morning when we came in, I gave you my notes here, and I just want to read those out to you just so you can kind of understand what that looks like. And you can see we already traded Tesla for profits. We traded Goldman Sachs for profits and so forth. But I want to get you over into the notes. Okay. So right here, this is what it sounds like. Good morning, ES. The weekly is my focus for a more calm approach. And of course, we will day trade for the intraday chart. Weekly is now above 50% of the supply zone. 45.74 is immediate support and 46.18 is the target. If 74 is broken, look at intraday chart. And we'll get to that here in a second. We will cover the PMZ before open, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. My sentiment is digestion for bigger econ data for tomorrow. All right. So for me, I feel like we're setting the playing field for tomorrow. But as always, I will follow the intraday price action. Events today, housing starts, building permits, Thursday. This is where I believe we're setting up for, okay? And we've had a powerful day yesterday. So the first thing that I said was my overall sentiment was choppy until it's not, okay? So again, watches, SPX, and AMD. We'll cover ideas around Tesla and Netflix earnings tonight. We've already did that. I put my trades on. We've made a little bit of money. And now we got some cool debit spreads that we're trading into Tesla earnings tonight. Okay. So that's what it looks like from that perspective. Now, once I assess all this, you have to understand we get over here to what we call an intraday trade. Now, I make it really straightforward. I'm a huge component of teaching you about how to have the right mental mindset of trading because there's too much news, there's too much hype, there's too much FOMO, there's just too much fear as well. And all of that news is just a catalyst that push price into our levels. And as soon as you could say that and understand it, then you'll understand what it feels like to trade at a Zen state. And what I mean by that is taking this trade over this automated box that our traders get every single morning. And we look to go long over that, and your stops are underneath the box. Our first target this morning was 46.06. I believe we have one right here, but we surpassed that as well. We hit that target. Our traders know this is going to be resistance until it's not. It comes back down into what I call the PMZ or the pre-market zone, and then we look to trade to the upside. Now, every single morning, we look at the ES and the NASDAQ, and we have a trading plan. Okay? So same thing. Let's go over here to the NASDAQ so you can take a look. And this is just the future part of it, okay? I love trading options and equity as well. So, for example, we go bid over the PMZ. We hit our first target. We hit our second target. Now, look, you get the opportunity to go short. We break down below the PMZ. We hit our liquidity chop. We hit our next target. And now we are finally hitting our third target to the downside. I would expect a bounce here. If for some reason we don't, they have our next target, 15,906, and then 15,875. Now, every single morning, our traders get the liquidity chop zones. Basically, this is where I believe that the market tries its best to take liquidity from retail traders. And then later on in the afternoon, once they break those levels, we expect to see our targets to the upside and or downside underneath those. Okay. So that's what that looks like. And you can see right now, this is a great example of a nice little bounce here off the NASDAQ, 15,931. All right. So if you're not a futures trader, what do? The biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is that we allow this, the opportunity to help me guide myself in the room. Okay. If I'm expecting ES futures to move up, I'm looking at the call side. If I'm expecting things to go down, I'm looking at the put side. Now, this market for the last several weeks, there hasn't been much opportunity for the put side. Am I right? There's been a lot of amazing trades to the upside. Now, what do I do when it comes to options and equity? How do I scan in the morning? What am I looking for? What are the type of things that I'm looking for? I am looking for things that are coming into demand or supply. Let me show you. If I have a demand zone down here, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for price to move into this zone, and then we are going to execute out of the zone to the upside. We're going to have our automated targets. I'm going to teach you how to find targets, and I'm going to show you how to trim and raise your stops up to guide you through that blueprint. Okay, for example, we bounced off this 15,931. John, where could we bounce? Let me go ahead and take some of these levels off for you just really quick so it doesn't look confusing. You can see that we hit our levels. I'm going to take some Fibonacci's. I'm going to go from, let's go ahead and go from the pivot high here into the pivot low. I wouldn't expect price on this bounce to reject somewhere around here at this line in the sand and this 23.6. So I already know immediately where I want to go long and where I'd want to be looking at getting out of my trade. This allows me a good risk to reward. Okay. Just like that. And boom, you can see we get our first pop into 15,953. Your risk to reward, what does it look like today? Check this out. Again, automatic risk levels that are given to our traders every single morning. Your risk is 7.15. You can round that up if you wanted to 10. Your reward is going to be that level that I just hit. So you're taking at 931, you're getting out at 953. Really straightforward. Notice as I zoom in here, you're going to see the rejection. Now, everything that I teach is fractal, meaning you could take the same concept, whether it's through Fibonacci, supply and demand, and you could put this on a 5-minute chart. You could put it on a weekly chart. You could put it on a monthly chart. I always tell people, I want you to find where you are most comfortable. We have something for you. Okay. Now, when I come over here and I'm looking at my scanner, check this out. Supply and demand. I double click here. This is going to give me everything. Okay, right here. Boom. I'm going to freeze the screen. Notice here, it says daily. This is what this stands for, daily upper edge, which means supply. And anything that has an LE is the lower edge, demand. So I already have my scanners that are looking for these supply and demand zones. The color differences are basically saying, hey, orange is for people who like to trade on the intraday for a couple days. The yellow is for people who like to swing for about, I don't know, 3 to 5 days. The pink, a couple weeks to a month. The blue, leap trades. And guys, I have a leap trade on right now as we speak that was trading at 191% right now, currently at 170%, but I still have to this day, very, very long time, 200 plus days to be exact. Okay. So I rely heavy on my scanners using supply and demand. So when people ask me, hey, John, can you give me an intro and how you get started for the day? Folks, I figured it out years ago. I don't listen to news. I don't watch news. I don't listen to people's opinions. I execute. Price comes into my levels. I execute the trade. Every time I execute, I understand how much I'm going to lose before I take that trade. And guess what? It's Zen state, baby. That's what I absolutely love. So notice here, if I come into here and I say, hey, I want to trade HD for the day. All right. I could come in here and just click on it. All right. Let's go ahead and minimize that. This is going to populate HD over here on the left-hand side. Let's go through it. What did HD do as far as the PMZ is concerned? What is my overall trend? That's right. I already have these up here so everybody understands what trend I'm looking at. It is to the upside. Once HD crosses over the PMZ, I'm looking to go long. I have automated targets that are already on the screen. I'm looking to take profits. For anybody that might be in here in the free room, that happens to be in the trendy trading room, this is your time. You can tell people as well what our process looks like. All right. It really is. I wanted to make it so simplistic that you can roll out of bed, take about 10 minutes to get set up and ready to execute. Okay. I don't need you like popping on CNN. I don't need you to read blogs. None of that. Price action is king. That's what I'm focused on. Everything around here is based off of price action. I have scanners that look for price that are inside the PMZ. All right. So, for example, if it's yellow, that means it's in the middle. Let's go over here to META, which is META. That's how fast it is. I just click on it. It populates it. I say how fast it is, and then Thinkorswim gets a little slow. So give me a second here. Let's see here. Let's see. John, greetings from the coast at Freeport. What's up, Win? John, are you considering pre-market when you look at ES every day, my friend? Every day, man. We look at ES in the morning. And, here's Thinkorswim acting silly. You know what? We got a backup for that, though. This is why we also offer Trading View. So let's go ahead and pull up Trading View here. We'll come over here into Meta. All right, let's go to a 5-minute. All right, we're looking at the PMZ. Let's go ahead and get auto on here. There we go. And if something is in the middle of the PMZ, then I want to be trading off of that, okay? So we come up here, make sure we have our PMZ. Let's go to indicators. Invite only. And let's put in PMZ. There you are, my friend, right there. Boom. And there it is. So the scanner over on Thinkorswim, let's see if this thing, okay, there it is. So we're at the PMZ. And this morning, if I wanted to trade Meta, right, former Facebook, all I got to do, folks, is understand this, okay? Please understand. Price comes down into my automated level. I'm looking for it to go bid. I want to take the trade above. I take the trade. I'm looking for targets to the upside. I'm using structure up and to the left to get out of trades. It really is that quick for me. UNH, same thing. I come over here. I look to see what it's doing. I trade out of the PMZ and so forth. Can you use this on any futures? 100%. We have CL futures, RTY, Dow Jones, the bond, ZB, all of that good stuff. Okay. So, again, supply and demand, biggest thing. All right. How to identify it. I took the time to create the indicator so that we don't have to look over and over. But my focus is to teach you how to find it. All right. And then the indicators are for convenience. All right. And then once we know how to find it, then it really comes down to mindset. How much are you willing to lose before you take a trade? And then we execute the trade. We stay patient and wait for prices to come into our levels. Okay. So we're going to stop right there. I want you to understand this is really straightforward for me. All right. Then there are a couple tools on Thinkorswim that can really help you. Now, again, I do not watch news. But right here on Thinkorswim, if you are into news and you want to hear what's going on, these type of things can help you find the right setup. So I'm going to show you a couple neat things here on Thinkorswim that can help you. So notice up here, every like few seconds or minutes, there's new news coming in, and you can see like in the mornings, especially, it'll say like, hey, so-and-so is up 5%. Well, you can come over here. You can load it in here, and then you just trade off of the levels, look for your supply and demand, wait for those levels to hit, and then we execute them. Okay, so you do have sort of a news catalyst area right here in Thinkorswim that can really help you out. All right, the next thing that I want to show you, all right, let's go ahead and X out of that, is what I call the trade flash, or that's what that Thinkorswim calls it. This thing is really helpful as well. It's almost like the same thing, but not quite. When you come in the morning or throughout the afternoon, you're going to see little things that pop up on here. All right. Now imagine this. You learn a process that is repeatable day to day, every single day you wake up. Okay. That's what I promise to people. I'm going to show you how to have a consistent process that you don't have to go running and looking for stuff. Okay. So we look at this. It's called Trade Flash, and you will see right here very important information that pops up. And if you see something here that you really resonate with, AMD, MU, GS, we were in Goldman Sachs, right? All of this stuff right here, then you're able to take these names. You already know that they have a catalyst behind them, and you can start loading them into your charts. And that way you can trade off of them. Okay. So that is another tool that you can use right here on Thinkorswim. Okay. All right. So outside of that, I know that I'm talking fast and I'm energized. It's just been an absolute amazing month, really. I think a lot of people are having an amazing time. I just want to remind everybody that just because we're having an amazing month does not make you a perfect trader. You will never be perfect. If there's one guarantee in the market, it is you will lose money. Now, I'm not saying over a long period of time, but what I want you to do, if you're having an amazing time and you feel like no matter what that your indicators are working, just remember there will come a time when the market gods strike again, and you will find yourself at a place where you need a consistent process. I want you to really dig deep and learn about allocation and understanding your risk before you execute a trade. Some other tools that might help you in your focus in your journey of trading would be Mark Douglas. Okay. So I'm going to pull up just really fast if you guys don't mind. We're going to pull up, let's see, I'm going to go over here and let's get to, let's see, let's go right here. All right, and let's go over here to, yeah, let's just go to regular YouTube right here. And let's put in Mark Douglas. And I know if you guys have listened to me before, then you know Mark Douglas. All you got to do is type in Mark Douglas #2. And this guy right here, right? That's not Mark. That's somebody in the stage that's asking him questions. I absolutely live by this entire thing. But #2 probably resonates with me the most. And most people that listen to this come back and say, John, thanks so much for bringing this to my attention. Now, he also does things like trading in the zone. That's what he's really popular for, right? But these things, man, these are gems. And all you got to do is listen to them over and over and over. And you're going to find that there's a lot of value in this. If you can think like they are trying to teach you, and you understand that these are professionals that are telling you from experience about the things that they have encountered, and they really are, and I am really trying to keep you from making the same mistakes that I made when I first started. If I could go back and do one thing would be not going over and listening to people who I thought were popular on Twitter, right? Tell me how to trade. There's no system there. Search for a system, somebody that can tell you how to get into winning trades and somebody that can tell you why you lost on a trade. That is what is important. Because what I want you to do is be able to fish for yourself. I want you to wake up every morning. I want you to look at these charts. I want you to look at the news if that's what you want to look at and use those names as a name to put in here. But I want you to trade off of price action, not off of sentiment or your ideas or the fact that you walked in the mall and the Tesla shop was very busy. So you're going to buy calls. You know, you're out there. Somebody out there is thinking, hey, it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to put my money in Tyson chicken or something. You know what I'm saying? Like people do crazy things when they first start trading. I'm telling you right now, pay attention to price, have yourself a set rule, set game, understand that allocation, and don't be afraid to execute, folks. Now, do you have any questions before I jump off of here? Anybody have any questions? Come on, ask away. Yeah, so great question, TJ. John, how difficult is it to get my charts like yours? Also, how many trades do you typically take with your trades? It's Melissa and I inside the trendy trading room here at Simpler, right? We work for Simpler. Love to be here. And I would have to say, I mean, if anybody's in here from our room, I would have to say anywhere from three to, I don't know, six trades a day on a pretty much any other day, 3 to 6 trades. Now, I always am working some sort of long-term trade in the background. Now, we just started to close out most of my swing trades over the last couple days, and I'm pretty much almost cash. I got an SPX trade on right now. We hit 370% yesterday, and I think we hit 300% the other day as well. It's been really fun. But again, I'm also a very good steward of my money. And so what I'm trying to do is just kind of slowly trickle out and become more heavy on cash and be dependent on the market to see what the fundamentals are telling the market. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a fundamental trader. I'm 100% technicals, okay? I should say 98% technical, 2% a little bit of that gut feeling to understand price recognition and pattern recognition. But I would say somewhere between that number. All right. Yeah, and that does not include future trades. So that does not include future trades. That's equity slash option trades. Why not automate the system and take the human element out of it? Aaron, great question. We actually have, I have a hedge fund that uses Tr3ndy indicators who is working on something like that for themselves. Here in Pensacola, Florida, I've had people over the years reach out and say that they did some amazing things. Look, it's whatever. I'm going to tell you, for me, I love being here to teach and talk about it constantly. All right. One thing that you guys might not know as well, when you come over to the Tr3ndy trading room, our as soon as I take a trade, it sends directly into the alert section of the room. There's no typing from me, so it literally our API is tied into the room, which is super super cool. Now that does not count for future trades. Okay, the API is not in the same place, but all my option trades and equity trades, spreads, butterflies, whatever, all that stuff gets automatically put into the room as soon as I hit the buy button or the sell button, which is super cool. Any advantage to using TradingView indicators versus? So yeah, that's a great question, and I want to answer that for you. So somebody asked, what are the advantages versus TV versus Thinkorswim? One, TradingView is on your mobile device, and you can see all indicators, PMZ, the edges, whatever. Okay. The only disadvantage to TV, in my opinion, is I'm not trading straight from it. But future traders can use TradingView to trade from it. I'll show you a couple other things that I really find, in my opinion, as an educator. All right, is that I like to come over here and I can set templates. So, like, for example, let's just say that we have a supply zone right here. I can easily put a box here. I right click on that box, I go to settings, and I've already have templates, and you can see those right here, right? Whereas Thinkorswim, it's just not as easy in my opinion. So boom, it turns it red, it calls it supply, and down here I would call this demand right here. Matter of fact, this is an actionable chart just in case you want to trade it. Let's see, template, let's go settings, and then right here I'm going to say demand, boom, just like that. And see, all that stuff right there, and because it doesn't bog down, is why I absolutely love trading view. All right, it's also very easy to remove your indicators and put them back on. There's a lot of stuff I absolutely love about it. Thinkorswim, the reason why I love it is because I never left it. I married it years and years ago. It's always been good to me. I don't have any problems executing on it. I always hear weird stories. Listen, I've been trading on it a long time. I've literally had no problems with Thinkorswim except for uh, great volatility days, but who is not going to have problems with their broker when we have events like COVID, right? Or some kind of financial crash? You're going to find that your broker is going to have a hard time. And just for these sakes right now, folks, so this is a supply zone, this is a demand zone. This is where I'd expect Meta to probably go bid around 313 to 312 and a half. Okay. Anyways, all right, keep moving on. Let's see. Any advantages? I just read that as a member of the Trinity Room, I would highly recommend the room. Thanks, Arizona. I appreciate that. When John, but are you looking at pre-market? Oh yeah. I'm looking at pre-market. Sorry. So pre-market is what I use. Yep, that's where my pre-market zones come from. When Yep. Yeah, and it's very easy to get set up. I mean, one, the indicators, right? They just boom, they're set up, and there it is. And two, I believe through my education and everything I teach on how to find your supply and demand levels is pretty. Let's see. I agree with Arizona's job. Oh, thanks, Gigi. Rock. I work from 9 to 5. Will your system work for me? My concern is hearing your pre-market notes for the day. My concern is hearing. Well, so I send them out as well, Rock. And another example would be I do a strategy, and it's pretty neat. It's called the neutral strategy, and I specifically made it for people on the go. All right. And so what I mean is this is what it looks like. And Melissa, if she were around, she's on an airplane, she's getting ready to take a cruise. And anybody that's traded this neutral strategy could give you information on it. You can also find it on my YouTube page on how I trade it. But this is for people in your position, people who are either at work, in the office, dropping kids off, going to the beach, whatever it may be. The idea is to go long above the neutral, and then you trim at targets and you preset these. And I teach you how to do what we call OCO orders with options or equity. It doesn't matter. But I teach you how to do this, and it's straightforward every single week. I send these out on the weekend so that you are ready for your work week in the stock market and your personal work week. And you can see here they worked really well this week. And I have kept this data for many years. You can come in here and you can look at all the different months and years, and those will pop up and kind of give you those details, which is really neat. The other thing is, I want you to understand that a lot of our information that we give out is right here in the room pre-market, and it's able to you're able to look at it, and then when you learn some of these cool things like setting OCOs up before the market opens, it'll allow you to trade and not have to be in front of the computer. Listen, that's my whole thing. If you missed my webinar, my whole thing is to live your lifestyle, but also be able to trade the methodology that I teach away from the screens. Okay, just so that you understand that. I'm a big component of that. Tom, I'm not too sure about that. You'd have to ask Lauren and them. What do you think about holding long QQQ options through the rebalancing of the indexes? First of all, Mike, great question, but I don't really care about like rebalancing and stuff like that. I'm a huge price action fan. All I can tell you is this is what we stare at, Mike. We go long at 380 and we look at trimming at 382, 385. And if it can hold 385.45, I'd say by the end of today, then I'm looking forward to pushing to 388.77. What you should be concerned about is that it's earnings season. Okay. And earnings season is, again, a toss up. You don't know what's going to happen. If you're in a bunch of winners, and let's say Netflix is, and it is reporting tonight, and it could have an impact on the market, you tell me, are you up? Are you doing really well? Could you trim some and keep some? These are things that you become a good steward of your money. You start to do on a daily process, and you stay disciplined. Don't think too much. Be a good steward of your money. I did hear you trade performance is pretty been pretty well. I really need to look into your room. Thanks. Yes, sir. If we missed the class last month, we're going to get the package deal with the class. Good question. I don't know that kind of stuff. What was the exact name of the trend news found on TOS? Yeah. So it's just called Live News. It's called Live News Rock 22, or we call it the, give me one second, Trade Flash. Trade Flash. Okay. Mott, you're new here. I'm new here. Can you please share the overview of your indicator? Yeah. So with my indicator, listen, it's a crazy still. I used to own Trendy Trading, right? And I used to sell these for $2,999. That was just for Thinkorswim, folks. All right. That was just for Thinkorswim. All right. And yeah, when we had our special, not only do you get Thinkorswim, but you get TradingView on top of that. So yeah, it's pretty insane, and it's a lot cheaper than that. A lot cheaper. All right. Uh, do I look for imbalance? So great question. Imbalance is demand and or supply. There's an imbalance in filled orders. That is demand, and we did find that here. Let me show you CAO. Let me show you really quick what that looks like. Let's go over here to ES Futures. Matter of fact, I got it right here. Give me 1 second. You know anything about imbalance? If you do, then check out these. I'm going to take this to a 30-minute chart really quick to show you. Okay, just like this. I'm going to take you to 30-minute on both of them. We found imbalances this morning. I teach you how to find this. All right, there's your inside and up is what I call it. There is an imbalance in the market right here on the ES futures by 4,555 by 4,543. And then on the NASDAQ, I'm looking at 15,816 by 15,749. If I zoom in for you, you can see that there's a huge imbalance in the market right here. Basically, they left orders behind, and that's what's going on. And I do believe if we can't make highs up here, that the market could come back to the imbalance before it resets itself or move back up. Okay? Pretty straightforward. I find one of the most amazing things about the Trinity Room is that John and Melissa are explaining what they do each and every day. I appreciate that, Roy. Value of the education is more than worth it. Repetition is the mother of mastery. Yes, it is. Let's see. How helpful is a list for determining if SPX is likely to be long or short for the day? Or so, Jinji, I heard you asking that this morning, and that's a great question. I'll give you a little bit of insight. All right. So, one of the hedge funds, and this is not like secret information or anything, but one of the hedge funds around here, what they concentrate on in the morning. All right, Jinji, I don't know if you're still there, but if you are, just say yes. So I know I'm not talking to thin air here. But pre-market, before the market opens, one of the indicators that they've been studying for a long time is just this arrow. If you have a buy signal before the market opens, they're always looking to go long. Of course, they know what their risk is, and into automated levels or levels that they found. Does that make sense? So that kind of answers your question. You guys can also see that the PMZ is working really hard today, doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. So good job there, guys, on your buys. And if we go over to the NASDAQ where we ended when we were talking about the futures just a few minutes ago, I'd love to see how the levels ended up working. I told you that the market would probably go bid right there. I told you it would probably stall right here, and it did. It went bid here, it stalled there. Now, guess what? This is your information. This is outside of this class and or this session. I would be timid on going long until prices can get up and over the 5-minute cloud. This 5-minute cloud, folks, for the rest of the day is resistance until proven otherwise. So, rough estimate here, you need price over 15,990 on the NASDAQ. And over here on the ES futures, you need price to get, well, let's see, ES futures might actually be over. Let me just get 1 second here. Yeah, it needs, I'm going to give you a rough estimate here, 4,600. All right, 4,600 on the ES. So those are your go-tos. All right, so I think that's good for questions. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for your attention, and I apologize. I know it's like, hey, how do you get started for the day? But guys, I've been doing this for a very long time. We have, overall, we have different set of indicators. You asked me about the indicators. The edges, fine. our supply and demand. The PMZ is an intraday trade that is very popular, that pops up on your equity charts for options, equity, futures, whatever. It tells you what your risk is. So that is the second one. The third one is an EMA cloud that changes the colors of the candles from red, white to green. It all is dependent on the momentum of the market. And then we also use the TTM Squeeze Pro to kind of help gauge at times as a tool to help us gauge if we indeed want to take trades at levels. And then I have my banners up here. All right, this is my Fibonacci. So this is programmed on the way that I teach, whether it's going to be extremely bullish or not. And so again, pretty straightforward. And then you have the line in the sand. So you asked me about the line in the sand. Listen, it's just a line in the sand. When you're above it and you come down to it, you go long. When you're below it and you come up to it, you go short. That's what the line in the sand is. You put a bracket order around it, you pay attention to your risk, and you execute the trade. Again, I appreciate you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful day. We'll see you over here in the room. Good luck to your trading. And if there's anything you need, don't forget, you can reach out to me on Twitter as well at Tr3ndy Jon, Tr3ndy Jon. I look forward to hearing from you.